Hello my fellow chairs and welcome back to EU4 Mission Tree Only, this series where we look at a nation's mission tree within its entirety without expanding outside of said mission tree. Today we are playing as a nation of Castille into Spain as we attempt to complete their entire mission tree. Castille, Portugal, and Aragon along with Granada had received a pretty extensive mission tree and pretty extensive amount of update focused on said nations. Due to the Golden Century content pack that was released quite some time ago. Pretty much it gears Castile and Spain into dominating Europe like they did historically for almost 100 years. But in this mission tree it guides us towards colonization in the New World, domination there, colonization in Indonesia and the Philippines, along with getting some really nice personal unions in our mission tree, such as a PU over England, Portugal, Aragon, and even Austria, and also I can't forget about Naples, but at some point we're pretty much going to be conquering all of Italy. Now, without wasting any more time, let's get into it as Castile. As Castile, a couple of important things to note is that we are of the same dynasty as Aragon, and in order for us to get a personal union over Aragon, we either need to have a female heir, or they need to have a female heir or a queen. Really, the easiest way to do that is to disinherit this guy, or you can also wait until Aragon dies, especially because they have two really old rulers, one that's 48 and their heir who's 47 years old, and there's a good chance that maybe, just maybe, they'd be put in a regency council and you could just PU them. Rival wise, we're just going to rival the nations that rivaled us, such as England. Unfortunately, Burgundy actually rivaled us, and we also have to rival Aragon. And of course, the reason why all of us are here is because of this mission tree right here. Some of the early on missions we have to do is prepare the Reconquista, which we have to have total navy and army size up to 100% and at least one general. Then we get permanent claims on this area right here on Granada, who we actually have a truce with until 48. This mission here, we have to wait until the Infantes of Aragon disaster happens, and we just have to have at least one stab. We can actually, this is where we get our PU CB on Aragon and also on Navarra. We can't forget about Navarra. I really don't care about Navarra too much, but we're going to have to get them at some point. This mission, armies of Iberia, we just need to have our army at least 85% force limit, 15 army professionalism, or 50 army tradition, and then have either naval tradition of at least 30, a flagship, or 8 heavy ships. This mission here, we have to have a treasurer advisor of skill at least 3, or complete economic ideas, and then we have to have our burghers loyalty at least 60 or greater, or complete trade ideas, or have trade income of at least 50%, and non-negotiable is then the final part of that mission is having a set income. After that, it's pretty much all the colonization stuff. Having explorers, colonizing the New World, colonizing Africa and getting to Asia, and also developing Sevilla over here. And that's pretty much it. When we actually form Spain, we get a few more PUs, or a few more missions, pretty much in this little corner here after the Granada Kingdom. And I believe we get one more mission in this area as well. So pretty much the only mission that we can really focus on at the start is prepare for Reconquista. So we're going to do that immediately, so then that way we can go ahead and attack Granada and full annex them. In terms of estate stuff, I'm not going to hand out any of the religious state monarch privileges or anything like that. We actually need the crownlets for a later mission. However, what I will do is hand out some of the basic ones like cheaper advisors, religious diplomats, clerical education. As for our nobility, which we're going to be competing with our nobility pretty much the whole game, they actually start out with a privilege at the beginning here. Factionless nobility basically gives us less legitimacy and more monthly autonomy change, and we can only revoke this privilege if we have at least 50% crownlets. Now, I'm sure we probably even get an event later on that allows us to do just that. We're going to go with not increased levies because they own way too much land, aristocrat counselors, nobility officer rights, and I think that's really it for them. As for our burghers, we're going to do patronage of the arts, commercial advisory board, indebted to the burghers, financial demand, and bookkeeping. And in terms of army stuff, we actually have a pretty big army. We could have up to 35,000 troops right at the start, almost 30 ships. We start out with about 10 army professionalism. In other words, we're very, very strong at the very start here. And here we go. We actually have a disaster getting ready to fire here. That's just simply because we have that nobility privilege granted to them. And we're probably going to have to deal with that right in about a year. And would you look at that? Aragon also got a very similar event, the Infantes of Aragon. And yeah, they got permanent claims on all my land. I don't like that, Aragon. I'm going to be real with you. Okay, so we got the Infantes of Aragon disaster and event. Pretty much we have to choose between siding with Aragon or siding with our current king. I mean, historically, they sided obviously with the king. And General Luna, who we actually start out with here, basically led the victory over the Infantes. So I guess we'll go with that. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to go ahead and recruit my Grand Company to help me out in this, because this is supposed to be a really brutal disaster. In order for it to actually end, we have to basically eliminate all rebels, and we have to have at least 0 stability. I'm going to go for the stab cost guy, who's actually really cheap. Also didn't realize we're actually focusing on mill at the start. And we'll give it like a month or two, and we'll go ahead and side with the king. Apparently during this, I've also completed this mission, so cool. We got our permanent claims over here on Granada. And I'm going to go ahead and boost up my stab, and that should do it. That was actually really easy. I've seen so many Reddit posts about how brutal that actually is. That was not bad at all. We reined it in like it was nothing. So let's delete this Merc army, and let's get back to what we were planning on doing. Hopefully, I also noticed Aragon actually lost their ruler. So fingers crossed, maybe they get a female heir. Maybe that guy dies and they get put on a regency. Or maybe in my case, maybe Enrique dies. So our truce with Granada is over. And lo and behold, they have a pretender. So let's go ahead and invade them. Take their capital, because the pretenders are about to take it for me. And we're going to be plunged into a war against both Tunis and Morocco. And my boy Enrique actually died. So yeah, we have to wait for a new heir, and kind of hoping that maybe this guy dies. So then that way, you know, put in a regency, and then we can fire that Iberian wedding. Also, Granada just unconditionally surrendered to me. Let's go ahead, full annex them. And now we can complete the Reclaim Andalusia mission, which now gives us permanent claims on both the island of Malta and in North Africa. We have 2 options. Either we can expel everybody out of here, lose stability, or gain stability and papal influence. I'm going to go with this option. I like stability. And now I can complete this mission here, which actually gives me a restoration of Union CB over Aragon, which I'm tempted to do that one right now, but we'll see if we can't get them for free. And would you look at that, I actually got a Habsburg heir. Don't know how I feel about that. Also an Enrique, because apparently we love our Enriques. I'm also going to go ahead and actually break my alliance with Portugal. I didn't royal marry them, and the reason why I'm doing that is because once I actually complete the union over Aragon, as long as you're not allied nor royal married to Portugal, you actually get a restoration of Union CB on Portugal. And this mission also gives us a restoration of Union CB over Naples, who is allied to France. But I'm allied to Austria, so I mean, it balances out, right? And you know what? I'm also glad that we didn't take that mission prior, because now I can just take this one and everything just becomes Catholic. Perfect. For our tier 2 government reform, we're going to go with curtail noble privileges. I know, it's very weird, but my noble's influence is pretty high, and I kind of need to lower that. Also, Burgundy just went under Oldenburg. Okay. And they're also at war with France, and they're winning against France, mind you. And this is the event I was hoping for. We get the historical Queen of Castille, Isabel de Trastamara, who's just, she's an absolute just Chad. She's a 5'6'3". Obviously, we're going to go with her. She also gives us the opportunity to just PU Aragon, because now she's our heir and they have a male heir and a male ruler. There's a good chance we could just PU them. However, there's also a good chance we are going to have a civil war here because our ruler's diplomatic skill is less than 2. Yay me. Also, our ruler just died, but that might have just stopped. Yeah, it just actually just stopped the disaster. Well, actually, no, it did not stop the disaster. I need to have at least +1 stab, but honestly, we should be fine. And here is the event that makes Castille into a freaking superpower. The Iberian Wedding. If you guys don't know, you choose this option right here. You just PU Aragon. They immediately become best friends with you. Their allies hate you, or we could just marry a local town instead. Obviously, we're going to do this one because it makes us into a superpower. And apparently, they also had Navarra under a PU. So, great, we got Navarra. And now I'm going to go ahead and take this mission. Though I probably should have waited until Isabella came to the throne. Oh well. And once I'm ready, I'm going to go ahead and force a union over Portugal. Also, Muscovy apparently rivaled me. That's like one of the weirdest rivalries I will ever see in this game. Okay, let's rival Muscovy, I guess. Alright, I'm thinking we invade Portugal. We are going to go ahead, take our claims in Aragon mission. This gives us a bunch of permanent claims, and most importantly, gives us a restoration union on Naples and Portugal. So, not wasting any time, let's go ahead and attack them. This will, of course, call on England. I'm not worried about England. They're really a pushover at the start of the game just because of their disasters and all that stuff. And let's do it. Also, Oldenburg just straight up inherited Burgundy, so this is disgusting. I don't like that at all. At some point, we get a mission that actually requires us to conquer the Low Countries. I'll be honest, I was kind of hoping that we would maybe, just maybe, be friendly with Burgundy, but clearly that didn't happen, and now we're going to have to conquer the whole thing. Also, we are officially just in a straight-up regency. I mean, at least we only have 7 more years until Isabella actually comes to the throne. And at least our region's actually pretty decent. Alright, with the aid of Austria, we were actually able to enforce our PU over Portugal. Let's go ahead and do that. A lot of people are going to hate us? No, not really. Because Portugal's at the edge of Europe, so nobody really cares. Now I can also complete the mission, recover Portugal. And doing that actually gives us a Restoration Union CB on Austria. In order for us to... we pretty much just have to have a larger army than Austria, have more development than them, and our power projection needs to be at least 50, or we're a great power, which we're the number 4th great power right now, which is we're about to jump up to number 2 in a sec here. I also allied the Pope and got my papal influence to at least 50, so now I can complete this mission, and any province that has a cardinal will gain 1 admin. Awesome. Also going to go ahead, take this Sanctioned Dynasty. That's going to allow me to improve relations with Portugal, who really is not happy with me right now. In terms of AE, yeah, nobody really cares. We also have a gold mine here in La Mancha, so obviously we want to dev that up. Let's go ahead and do that. We're going to bring this up to at least 10. Alright, let's embrace this Renaissance thing, get all of our tech. Very first idea group we're going to choose is going to be exploration. It's mandatory if you're playing in Castille, pretty much. If you're playing Aragon and you're forming Spain, I wouldn't worry about exploration, at least until later. But if you're playing Castile and Portugal, exploration's the way to go. Also, our boy Portugal actually already has exploration ideas, which is great because that means that they're going to do some of the colonizing for us. So my boy Austria got Hungary. It actually works out really good for me because when I go to enforce that PU, we're going to be really, really strong. Speaking of enforcing personal unions, we're going to go ahead and enforce our PU over Naples. We're going to call on both Austria and the Papal State. France is, I mean, they're winning their war against Provence, but at the same time, it looks like they're actually kind of struggling against them. So let's take advantage of that right now. For our tier 3 government reform, we're going to go with expanded royal court, though we could go with Council of the Indies, which is pretty decent. Global trade power, treasure fleet income, reduce liberty desire on other continent, but we'll swap to that a little bit later. Alright, we can finally get France out of this war. That's fantastic. France has been like the only driving force in that war that's been like just kicking my ass. And now it's just Naples, Florence, and Savoy, which France is not allied to any of those guys. Alright, finally I got both Savoy and Florence out of here, so we could just enforce our union over Naples. And again, nobody cares. Nobody really cares. All I have to do now is just make sure I get those relations up above 100, and if our ruler dies, I know she's 22 years old, it happens because I have horrible luck with rulers, we could keep that PU. Second idea group time, of course, is going to be expansion. We're going all in on this colonization thing. And because we are going to be colonizing quite heavily, we're going to go with higher developed colonies, which adds development to a completed colony. And because we own Naples, I'm going to complete this mission, giving us permanent claims on all of this stuff here in Italy and also here in Belgium. Alright, because I finally have a colonist, I actually get plus ultra, which gives me additional colonial range. And Isabella is now an expansionist, which is perfect for colonizing. It actually gives us additional global settler increase. I also have 2 colonists, one from expansion, one from exploration. We're going to go with the native high 5 policy, so we could get even more global settlers. The next couple missions here is we have to actually own just 1 province in the Guinea region, and we just have to be the strongest trade power here in West Africa. While in Ivory Coast, here we have to discover the Caribbean, and this one we just have to complete exploration or expansion ideas. I'm also apparently the very first nation to get bronze cannon, so suck on that, Ottomans. We have also discovered the New World. I guess Portugal hasn't made it that far, and yeah, so now we get 50 prestige and innovativeness. Because we just discovered the Caribbean, we now get a conquistador who has 75 tradition plus global settler increase plus 15. Now in terms of these types of missions, I have to set up a colony over here in the Caribbean, 1 over here in Colombia, and 1 all the way down here in South America where Argentina would be. So that's actually pretty easy. You just need to get at least 5 provinces in each area, and then the Pope will be like, hey buddy, I like you a lot, you could claim that entire region. Here's 100 settlers. I've also completed the Royal Authority mission by making it to 1480. I didn't have the Castilian Civil War. My nobility influence is not lower than 40, and my crownlands is at least 40%. So I could complete this, get dev cost, monthly autonomy change, monthly reform progress for the next 20 years. And then we're down to everybody's favorite TV show, Law and Order, where we just have to basically dev up a couple provinces, build courthouses here, and expand infrastructure. Then until the end of the game, we get additional monthly reform progress and state governing cost. Alright, so I'm thinking we're going to send a colonist, 1 here to Bani because that's a trade center, and then 1 over here to Zui as well because that's also a trade center. We're going to send 3 infantry regiments over there so that way they can party with the natives over there. Would you look at that? Austria's trying to unify with Bohemia. I like the sound of that, Austria. Yeah, let's go for it, buddy. Tier 4 government reform. Honestly, we're going to go for lands for the church. I never choose this one, but because we are Castille, kind of go a little bit roleplay here. We're going to be very, very much Catholic. Alright, I completed the Law and Order mission. So, monthly reform progress till the end of the game in this province, and then Granada gets state governing cost until the end of the game minus 5%. Okay, so I finally set up 1 province over here in the Caribbean, and I get 20 prestige. All that extra prestige is going to be converted into monarch power, and we get settler chance plus 20% for the next 15 years. From there, the next mission is we need to have the province of Santo Domingo have a church or cathedral, and then we have to own 5 provinces in the Haiti Dominican area, and then over here we have to own the province of Havana Unana, and then build a workshop and own 5 provinces here in Cuba. Alright, I can complete the Sales of Exploration mission, which is just going to give us 100 Diplo power because Isabella is perfect in Diplo, and our rulers will be more likely to gain the Expansionist trait as long as we have exploration or expansion ideas active. Then from there, we just have to circumnavigate the world. Finally, we have completely set up a colony over here in the New World. I guess we could call it Cuba. I don't know necessarily what it was historically. I guess it was called the Spanish West Indies, so that's what we'll call it. In between these three, so a crown colony, pretty much, they're going to contribute more money and manpower towards us, but they're going to have a little bit more liberty desire. Private enterprise, they're going to be focused on trade and getting as much money out of the land as possible. Meanwhile, self-governing colony, oh, this is the one that actually has a higher liberty desire, but it expands and develops faster. You can also swap these for the cost, I think of like 500 ducats, something like that later on. I think it's like 20 or 30 years you could swap them, but we're going to do a private enterprise for the Spanish West Indies. And since we have our colony over here, this is now permanently claimed by us. So we're going to look at our mission tree here, and we are going to focus on the Spanish Main now, which is this area here. And then after that, we're going to set up another 5 provinces down here in Argentina, which I believe, no, we can't reach just yet. And for over here, we're just going to go ahead and send a colonist to this province here, since it's a center of trade. And if it's anything that I've learned from Van Halen, we want to make sure that we take Panama. I built a church over in Santo Domingo, and we also own 5 provinces here, meaning we can claim Hispaniola, which means we get a permanent claim on Central America, Mexico, and all those other nations like Belize and all that stuff. And we also get Mr. Hernan Cortez as a conquistador. And now the game wants us to go ahead and conquer all those Mayans. And once we get Havana, pretty much the same thing with a workshop set up there and own 5 provinces over here. We then get permanent claims on all of the Mexican stuff. And we're on to conquering the Aztecs, which this area is much easier to colonize because it's pretty much just conquer everything and you have your colony. Meanwhile, these areas over here, like in Peru, Colombia, and Argentina, are a lot more challenging in the sense that, well, you have to you actually have to sit there and wait to click a button. Tier 5 government reform, we're just going to go with military engineering. That's my favorite one because of the artillery barrage stuff. And what is this off my coast? Yeah, Norway's over here as well. Norway, you better stay as far away from me as possible, dude. I really don't want to be dealing with you. Alright, we got both exploration and expansion done, so we can take the awesome policy, giving us even more global settler increase and less of a likelihood of a native uprising chance. So yeah, we are gaining 105 settlers in 1498. Historically, like 6 years after Christopher Columbus discovered this. And colonialism has spawned. Where am I subject to Portugal? I'm honestly not too upset by that. I mean, at least it's in my stuff and not over here in Norway. Alright, so in order for us to complete this one, West African ports, and start getting into all the Indonesian stuff and the Philippines and everything like that, I need to own at least 1 province here in the Guinea region and also be the strongest trade power in Ivory Coast. Honestly, easiest way to do that, colonize these 2 provinces and then maybe send a couple ships down here. I'm also going to go ahead, swap my policy to native trading policy, so that way I don't have to worry about any native uprising chance, and also I get higher native assimilation, which means they're going to be incorporated, actually into my land, as opposed to just unfriendly high-fiving policies. This mission, Port of Sevilla, is actually really good. You just have to own the province, expand the infrastructure 1 time, develop the province 10 times, build a marketplace, dock, and a shipyard. And you actually get a trade depot here, and you get the event Trade Center of Sevilla, which gives us plus 20 local trade power till the end of the game. That's really disgusting. From there, we have to own 70% of the trade here. And then we get trade efficiency and, you know, a couple other things. We also get the event Casa de Contratación, which gives us a bunch of bonuses towards our colonies. this one right here, we have to build 6 shipyards in our coastal provinces and have at least 50 light ships. And then we could build galleons and caravels, which are available to both Portugal and also Netherlands. And then because I own these 2 provinces right here, I could complete this mission now because I'm the strongest trade power. To mercantilism, construction costs, and trade steering. Then from here, I have to discover the Moluccas in Indonesia, which I think honestly for me, the easiest way is going to be going through my colonial stuff. I know really the better way would be to go through South Africa, but I don't have any claims or anything that actually guides me towards going to South Africa and around the Cape. Again, this is mission tree only. Unfortunately, we're not going for efficiency, we're going for whatever works within the confines of that mission tree. I'm also going to go ahead and just continue to colonize the Caribbean. It kind of blocks out a lot of other colonial rivals like England and France, because we are getting closer to having a Tech 10. And yeah, I don't want them to get over here at all. Alright, finally we can embrace colonialism. Let's do that. Get the better Diplotech, and I should be able to reach La Plata now, just barely. Finally, we got our colony over here in New Granada. We're just going to go with a self-governing colony, so that way it could expand as fast as possible. I could also complete the mission Spanish Man, which I can now complete the mission Spanish Main, which gives me a bunch of permanent claims on the Incas, which is another easy area to colonize. We also get the conquistador Francisco Pizarro, who actually conquered the Incas. So awesome. Got that. Got our permanent claims. Next couple missions is to own a bunch of stuff in New Granada, and then obviously conquer all of the Incas, which the easiest way for me to do that, guess what? Through Argentina. Which I think this is part, yeah, that's just barely part of Argentina right there. Apparently I got over 70% trade power or more over here in our really awesome trade node, which is actually the most valuable one right now. So yeah, we can complete this, get that event, Casa de Contracción, until the end of the game, giving us +1 settler chance and global settler increase +5. I was gonna say, with us being pretty far ahead in terms of technology, now might be a good time to go ahead and beat up on France. However, they're allied to both Poland and the Ottomans, but really my only way in would be against the Venetians here. I don't know. Oh, I could definitely get Austria to help me out here. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Do a conquest war. I'm not going to take anything. Well, I may take something out of this war, but I need to complete this mission, reign in France. Which I guess, I would have to own either 20 provinces over here or have an ally over here with 180 opinion. The 20 provinces might be the more realistic option, but either way, I need to break down France. Okay, I got France out of this war. I'm making them break their alliance with both Poland and the Ottomans, taking all their money and making them give me their war reps. Perfect. And now we're just down to Florence and Venice, which really are not bad at all. Because I think the Venetians only have 8k guys, 20k guys, and no manpower. Oh, finally, I'm the Pope. Would you look at that? Tier 6 government reform, we're going to go with royal decree. We're blasting through these reforms really fast. It's only 1514 and we're already down to our tier 6. And I already have 70% crownlands. After finally owning 5 provinces over here in Cuba and also building a workshop over here in Havana, we finally get an additional +1 Diplo for our ruler, 3 mercantilism, and even more permanent claims on Mexico. I can also finally choose my 3rd idea slot, which I'm just going to go with quality ideas because it buffs up both our army and our navy. I could also form Spain diplomatically, however I'm not going to do that just yet. You see, I'm not done using and abusing Aragon anytime soon until France is at least dealt with. Or maybe until I force a PU over England. One of the two. I also think it's time we begin our invasion of North Africa. I have permanent claims here and I need to do the continue the Reconquista mission, so yeah, let's do it. So because I've cored up 5 of these provinces over here, I was able to establish a colonial nation, and these poor guys are going to get rebel bombed. I already know they will, but it's fine. And yes, I did name it New Spain. So I didn't realize it, so I attacked the Zapotec here. They're a subject under the Mixtec, who are allied to the Aztecs, and now I have a bunch of native Central Americans I have to fight here. I've also completed the mission, established La Plata, just by owning 5 provinces here, global trade power, global tariffs, to mercantilism. And we are officially in the Age of Reformation, which means I should be able to complete that Tercios one. Oh, I need 3 more provinces with a barracks. Okay. It's like nothing. Well, that's a workshop. And as you guys can see, I'm just gonna go for it all in like one fell swoop. Just conquer all of Mexico and Central America. So our Tercios receive minus 30 shock damage. That's pretty nice. That's especially in the early game. Obviously, as the game progresses, it doesn't matter as much, but I guess what affects the amount of Tercios we can have is the combination of our force limit and how much army tradition we actually have. But yeah, we're going to build 9 of these guys, which is the max that we can have. And I'm going to replace 9 infantry out of my main army here in Spain. Alright, I built my flagship over here, meaning I can complete the Spanish Armada mission, and now I get a Restoration Union CB on England for the next 25 years. So yeah, that's what we're going to be going for next. Okay, within like 15-20 years, I've completely just conquered like almost all of Mexico, and I can complete the Aztec conquest. Give me permanent claims on the remainder of the Mexican region, bunch of money, and also center trade, upgrade costs, gold depletion chance, etc. Alright, without wasting any time, let's just do this. I could definitely get Austria to help me out here. Let me just reduce their opinion of Great Britain. Probably ask them to prepare for war and we should be good. Alright, Restoration Union, let's do it. First battle against the English, and it's a defensive one here. My guys, I mean, they have way better morale, but that discipline, it doesn't matter because my guys are just better in morale, I guess. And that was actually a super easy war, but I can enforce a union over Britain. It's going to be 90 AE, but the only European nation that would care would just be Great Britain. Nobody else does. So now all I have to do is just improve relations with them so we can just keep them under our thumb. I can also complete this mission, invade England, and it enforces Catholicism back over the British Isles. So no more of that Anglican crap. I'm also going to begin my integration of Portugal, primarily because they're really ticking me off with the whole colonization thing over here, and I have a whole nother subject that I really did not want. Alright, I think it's time we start ticking off some people. We're going to break our alliance with Austria. And once that truce is up, we're going to go ahead try and enforce a union over them, Bohemia and Hungary. Alright, I think it's time. I think it's about time we finally integrate Aragon here. Let's go ahead and do just that. Oh, I need 100 legitimacy. Alright, let's bump that up. Boom. Take the new Spanish ideas that are fantastic. And now I'm going to go ahead and take this mission to get the Restoration of Union CB on Austria. Also delete a lot of these. We also have to state up a lot of things here. So many things that we have to do. So now we're over our governing capacity apparently, but not by much. And in case you guys are wondering, it's 1545. We have almost 2,000 development. AKA, don't mess with me. I got the power of God and anime on my side today. Alright, our truce with Austria is over, so we're going to go ahead and invade them as soon as my diplomat gets back. Alternatively, I could wait until I get 10 favors with Commonwealth, which I may even just wait till that happens. Finally, after my 10 favors with Commonwealth, we're just going to go ahead and attack Austria. Restoration of Union, baby. Oh, would you look at that? Austria actually inherited Bohemia, so that's just going to make me even stronger now. This is definitely going to give me a coalition, 100%. 113, yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a big coalition, but we should be okay. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, Spanish ideas are very, very good. You get 15% morale of armies, artillery fire +1, which is a very underrated idea. You get additional 5 discipline at the end. Usually papal influence, colonist, institution spread and reform growth, heavy ship combat ability and naval force limit modifier, tariffs and envoy travel time, prestige, and a free diplo policy, along with the state loyalty change on privilege revoked +5. So actually pretty decent ideas. I finally completed reform the treasury, requiring me to have at least a level 3 treasury advisor or complete economic. Burger loyalty equilibrium needed to be at least 60, or complete trade ideas, and then we get Spanish dollar. So for the next 20 years we get inflation reduction, global trade power, and burger loyalty equilibrium, plus our ruler gets +1 admin skill. Then after that we pretty much just had to get Madrid and Toledo to basically be really good. Awesome. So now I can just move my capital to Madrid for free and glass will be produced here. Otherwise I could keep Toledo. We're not doing that. In the Age of Reformation, Spain actually gets a unique bonus, giving us additional land leader shock +1. Gladly take that. And we can form a union finally with Austria and Hungary. Oh, it's beautiful. And how Oldenburg's the emperor. And this is what our player map mode looks like so far in 1551. That is disgusting. Disgustingly beautiful that is. And of course my ruler just died. Bro, no. But at least I inherited whatchamacallem, Naples, I guess. And finally, I have integrated Portugal into my country. Meaning I also inherited all their colonies as well too. However, unfortunately a lot of these guys like Portuguese Colombia, yeah, they're not going to be integrated into my subjects. They're just kind of here. However, things like Portuguese Brazil here, I'm pretty happy with that. But I could go ahead and upgrade myself actually to an empire now, which should help out the gov cap just a little bit. And I have also completed an additional mission here, which is the Mayan Conquest one, because now I own all this stuff. And then once all the provinces in Mexico are owned by me or my subject New Spain here, and I have assigned a holy order here, I can complete this mission, Viceroyalty of New Spain, in which Mexico becomes the new capital of New Spain. We get a bunch of permanent claims on Florida, and some additional things like global tariffs and liberty desired from subjects development, which is a very underrated idea. Alright, so I see my subject New Granada is actually invading Peru. So we're going to get in on this because I have permanent claims on Peru anyway, so might as well use them. I'm ahead in admin. I used to have like 1,000 admin before I started deving stuff. I've been looking for an excuse to just use my admin, so let's go ahead and conquer all of Peru. Finally, after like our 6th expedition of sending our ships out to circumnavigate the globe, we finally did it. We got 100 prestige, 40 navy tradition. I could now complete the mission, Charter the Seas, which gives us legacy of the first circumnavigation to the end of the game, giving us a guaranteed max admiral maneuver +1. I mean, that's not bad if you need to get your boats out of somewhere really fast. And within like one war, we pretty much conquered all of Peru. However, I'm just gonna give my boy New Granada over here a province because, well, it's just weird that they would own stuff here in this area and it wouldn't be connected. For our 4th idea group, I'm thinking we're gonna go with either admin or economic ideas. I mean, economic would be fantastic. Then we could get more discipline and obviously would help us out with our inflation. Admin's obviously really good because of that governing capacity. I'm kind of leaning towards economic though. I also just released out Portuguese Colombia because I'm just tired of seeing 2 colonies in this area. And I already have my Caribbean one over here as well. So yeah, they need to go. I'm thinking for our tier 8 government reform, we're going to go with exploitation in the New World. This gives us 1 more colonist. And it also gives our colonies 10% goods produced. So very, very nice. So in order to establish holy orders, you just click on a province, go to the state area, and then you go to local organizations. For this area, because there's a ton of gold mines, I'm going to go ahead and do this one, which gives us additional local goods produced modifier. Some of the other areas, like up here, like this one, would probably benefit from one of the other ones. Like this one right here, Santiago. Some of these down here for the good trade stuff also. And because I own the entire Mexican region, plus those 5 holy orders, I could complete this. Perfect. So now the game wants me to go ahead and establish a colony up here, even though Spanish West Indies kind of sort of has some stuff here. Then we also have colonized California, which I'll be honest, I did start colonizing this area. I need to own San Francisco, which we own San Francisco. One needs to have a holy order here, and we can complete this. And get a center of trade, 100 Diplo power, and 3 base tax in San Fran. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Or never mind. I guess I can't right now. So the Protestant War actually happened, and it looks like the Emperor actually won. So that's pretty cool. We're probably going to have a little bit of a Catholic Empire. Also, my boy Austria is actually voting for me, which is also very funny. And I finally established my colony over here in Florida. I just need to own 1 more province over here, and that's really about it. There's actually not too many missions pertaining to the colony of Florida. It's just basically colonize West Florida. Oh, that's that mission. Just need 3 provinces over here owned by subject with a fort. It's really nothing. So yeah, we'll build a fort here, build a fort there. Heck, we'll build 1 more right there, I guess. I conquered Cusco, so now I can complete the Incan Hordes mission, giving me trade efficiency, great project cost, and permanent claims on Peru, the region. And then the province of Lima is a level 3 center of trade, and we own, you know, a bunch of provinces over here. We actually have to own Lima and Potosi, and then we have to be the strongest trade power in Lima, Panama, and Jamaica Channel. And then we get Lima as the capital of our colony. Potosi, which is the great project, changes to level 2, giving us additional 50% local goods produced. We also get some gold rush modifiers as well. In Potosi right here, yeah, it's on a gold mine pretty much, so you get local goods produced +2 at the level 2 tier. You also get local goods produced modifier plus 10% and interest per annum. So really, it's worth it to dev this up. as high as you can, just so that way you can get as much money as possible. And that leaves us with the silver trade mission, where we just have to own 10 gold provinces, all with at least base production of 10, which is pretty easy. But after that, we get Spanish deposits till the end of the game, giving us 33% local goods produced modifier with any province that has gold. And apparently my colony decided to die here, so yeah, I have to beat up this federation here just so I can revive my colony. I finally own all the provinces in Colombia, and I have established 5 orders over here, so now I can complete this mission, New Kingdom of Granada, giving us 100 Diplo, 25 legitimacy, and for the next 20 years, vassal force limit contribution plus 50%, along with liberty, desire, and subjects minus 15%, and Bogota becomes the new capital of New Granada. For tier 9 government reform, I'm just going to go with Leviathan for the extra liberty, desire, subjects. Cool, we actually got an event called The Sun Never Sets, which gives us prestige, legitimacy, and 100 papal influence. Awesome. And I also just completed the silver trade mission. So now we get 33% local goods produced in every province that produces gold. So we're about to be even more rich. Also finally completed the colonized California mission. I just had to own San Francisco, assign a holy order there, own Ohlon, and own at least 5 provinces here, and we get 100 Diplo power. San Francisco gets 3 base tax, and Ohlon gets level 1 center of trade and 4 base production. And out of these 2 missions and our colonization stuff, that's pretty much it. We are working on the Philippines stuff right now. But we need to own the 3 forts, which kind of got postponed because of my subject getting annexed. Then we also just have to simply get a university, which universities are coming up, and we can actually complete this mission next. I'm also waiting to see who actually wins this war, which I have a feeling it's going to be this guy right here. I didn't realize this, but I never completed a new capital mission, which requires you to complete an event that eventually fires, improve the capital 12 times in Madrid, expand infrastructure at least once, have a state house or 5 buildings, and the great project El Escorial needs to be tier 1, and then paper gets produced here. And then the development of the monument here gets changed to level 2, which I have so much money I already finished this one up. And we're down to a system of councils here, which we just have to either complete admin ideas, ruler has level 6 admin, or 15 admin per month, and we have to own 50% crownlands, which I mean I could start working on pretty easily. Also, we were able to get global trade to spawn in Lisbon because our trade node is the most valuable at 70 ducats, though English Channel of course being the next closest one. Ooh, I actually got an event in which Spanish West Indies just gives all their Colombian stuff to New Granada. Oh, that makes me so happy. Or I guess there's still a couple more provinces. Well, hopefully more of that event kind of comes up. Alright, I'm thinking we are going to go ahead and start a war against the French here for Calais and Bruges over here. This is going to be a huge freaking war. They are allied to the Ottomans, Venice, Genoa, and of course France is not a cakewalk either. But we are just going to go ahead, go for the stuff in the Low Countries, and I also have a mission to have an ally in the French region with their capital there. I guess we could try and release out a nation out of France, see if that works. But yeah, let's do this thing. Alright, I finally built a university in my one province of Salamanca, and we have 15 states with assigned holy orders, so until the end of the game we get yearly papal influence, area cost minus 10%, and papal influence from cardinals plus 30. Not bad. Finally, I kind of misunderstood this mission, the Fortify Florida one. It wants you to own 3 forts in the West Florida or Southeast region,
and it has to be at least fort level 3, and then you get 100 mil power along with every fort in that area getting plus 20 defensiveness for the next 20 years. So we're pretty much done with all this stuff. In terms of colonizing stuff, we are down to this area here in the Philippines. We just got to conquer all that. And I have to have at least 50 light ships for this one mission, which actually allows us to have galleon ships and caravel ships. I'm surprised I haven't done that mission just yet. But otherwise, we are all on the conquering stuff in Europe. Making our army already a lot stronger than it already is. We need 60 tercios. In order to complete this mission, we have to conquer a bunch of Italy. At some point, we have to conquer the Netherlands, which, I mean, I already have claims up here anyways. I have to conquer this little dude right here, so he's part of Austria. Which then gives me even more stuff. Oh yeah, my total dev needs to be at least 2,000 at some point, and I've had my golden era. So yeah, we still got a lot of stuff to do. Alright, we are now in the age of absolutism. I already completed the multiple universities. We're probably going to get potential for a large army. And I could probably get the trade company one. Finally, after building up to 50 light ships and having at least 6 shipyards, I could complete this mission, giving me trade efficiency, ship trade power, treasure fleet income for the next 25 years. We can also build galleons, caravels till the end of the game, and we get 10 Navy tradition. In case you guys are wondering what all the hype is about the galleons and also the caravels, well, galleon, which are the heavy ships, they're a unique naval unit to the Spanish and the Portuguese, which gives you additional heavy ship combat ability plus 10%, larger hull, and then the caravels give you naval attrition, fleet movement speed, and ship trade power modifier. Pretty much the caravels are really good for exploration. The galleons are actually really good for super heavy combat. For our 5th idea group, we're going to be going with offensive ideas. I'm going to go ahead and invade France, but I'm not going to take any land for myself. Instead, I'm just going to give everything over to my pal Provence over here in hopes I can maybe complete that mission reign in France. Because I need to have an ally who's at least 200 dev over here, or at least a great power or something. In other words, we just need to beef up Provence. Alright, I'm going to make this kind of peace deal with France. I'm going to make Provence take a good amount of land out of them, take a bunch of money, and yeah, I'm going to make France break a couple of alliances. As I mentioned, we're just trying to get Provence to actually be the big boy over here now. I'm also going to go ahead and just attack the Venetians. None of their allies would actually come in to help them, but they own a lot of provinces I need to take from Italy right now. And they just annexed the Pope. Obviously, that's a big no-no. So let's go ahead and deal with them. Alright, time to make peace with the Venetians. We're just going to take these 2 provinces, take the province of Milano. We're going to release Milan out of Venice. Or out of that one province, and we're going to do a reconquest war the next time we go to war with the Venetians. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and invade Holland. I allied almost all the electors. All I would really have to do is just occupy Holland's capital, and we could dismantle the HRE, and we don't really have to worry about AE, like, ever again. So let's go ahead and do that, at least once my diplomat gets back. Finally, after taking down Magdeburg's capital and the Palatinate, I can just dismantle the HRE, and it's done. And with that completely gone, now it makes things a lot easier to go ahead and expand, especially in the Netherlands, where there's so many high dev provinces. I'm just going to take these 2. People really care? Eh. Oh, well, that's not good for the Ottomans. So how this war with the Ottomans, we absolutely crushed them. They had 300,000 troops. They have 109,000 troops and no manpower. I destroyed their navy. I actually captured their flagship. So, or at least I sunk it. So they're done. And as for the French, I'm just beefing up my ally province even more for that mission.
Alright, now comes our war against the Venetians. We're going to do reconquest for all my Milanese stuff. Now with that war against the Venetians over in Milan being really big, I could complete Italian conquests. Then I just have to take over Brigands, which I might be able to just, yeah, I mean I could just vassalize these guys. Might be the easier way, and I could complete this mission here. And then I'm pretty much on to this one, Spanish Road, which I pretty much already completed, and that gives me a permanent claim on the Low Countries region. Also going to go ahead and begin a war against the Philippines. We're going to full annex the entirety of the Philippines in like one war here. In one fell swoop, the Philippines are entirely mine, and I can complete this. Yummy Cloves in Sevilla, and the Manila Center of Trade actually gets bumped up to up by 1. And also, the entire religion in the southern Luzon area actually changes to Catholic. So not bad. Would you look at that? I actually inherited my boy Naples. I can also complete this mission because now I have 15 admin per month, over 50% crownlands, and I get system of councils tier 1 government reform, giving me +2 diplo relations, +1 monarch skill, and I can revoke privileges regardless of loyalty and influence from my estates. And pretty much the system of councils is based off of your monarch skills and average autonomy, average liberty desire from your overseas subjects, gives you admin efficiency and monthly splendor. When maxed out, gives you an additional +5 admin efficiency and +4 monthly splendor. You can call the Royal Counselor, which gives you additional monarch point for admin, possible advisors, advisor costs, inflation reduction, interest per annum, missionary strength versus heretics, diplo power, diplo rep, galley combat, and more settler stuff. And call the Council of War, you get military power, manpower recovery speed, army tradition, and yearly navy tradition. Alright, finally I can complete Austrian secession, giving me diplo rep, improved relations. I could also complete a couple more missions like the Spanish Road because I have 50 transports, and I complete Italian conquest and Austrian secession. So this gives me permanent claim on Low Countries. We get land attrition and movement speed for the next 20 years, pretty nice. And for us to complete the Spanish Netherlands, all provinces need to be owned by us and Catholic. As for this mission, we need to complete Austrian secession, new capital. Total dev needs to be above 2,000. We're at 2,140. We are the #1 great power by far. Next closest one being Delhi, then Ottomans. After that, we need to enact our golden age. I'm currently in my golden age, so we could go ahead and take this, get governing cap modifier, and diplo annexation cost minus 25% till the end of the game, which is very nice. We're almost done with this mission tree. We only really have like 3 missions left. We just have to do refine the tercios, which requires us to have at least 60 tercios and 75 army professionalism or 90 army tradition. We have 100% army professionalism. Then we have to obviously do Spanish Netherlands, and then the last one, universal monarchy, which is to be the emperor or dismantle the HRE and complete all the other missions. With our truce with France over, we're going to go ahead and attack them on Commonwealth and province. We're just going to continue to expand our allied province. So I forgot I also have the reign in France mission I have to complete. Also just completed refining the tercios because now I have over 60 tercios, and we get reformed tercio regiments till the end of the game, which only affects them. They get reinforced speed, army drill, and our ruler is now strict. Alright, I think we're gonna just kind of chill for a little bit until we get imperialism. It kind of gives me a chance to get all this AE out of the way anyways before I go on a full-on rampage of just conquering everything in my path. 6th idea. I guess we'll just go with influence ideas so we can start integrating some of these subjects like Austria just to clean up these borders. Alright, truce with France is over. You guys know what's about to happen here. Finally, I've expanded Provence enough so they're above 500 dev. I can complete this. They're now my historical friend.
I get permanent power projection, though I don't necessarily need it, I guess, but great. I got myself a historical friend. Finally, we got imperialism, nationalism, CB. So Holland, I'm gonna make Commonwealth break that alliance with you, and we're gonna immediately attack you. Whoa. They actually really like Holland. Okay. How about this, Commonwealth? How about you help me out in a war against Scandinavia, because I need to take some of their stuff for myself, and you do all the work in that while I beat up your ally Holland. Alright, let's kick Holland completely out of the Netherlands. I could take everything here. Nobody really cares. I'm okay with that. And I'm thinking, because I'm already at war with the Scandinavians, who are guaranteeing Cologne's independence, I'm just going to go ahead and invade Cologne. They smell real good, so I need all their Dutch stuff. Finally, I can end this war against Scandinavia. I can take what's left of the Low Countries away from them. In order for me to complete this entire mission, I need to make it all Catholic, because guess what? It still has Protestant Reformed over here, and obviously that's no bueno. Also, while I'm coring this stuff up, it's time to start integrating all my subjects, so, well, at least Milan and Austria. Okay, so it's been a little bit of time since I last updated you guys, but I've integrated both Austria and also Britain, and we've also converted the Netherlands all the way to Catholic. And so because of that, we could finally complete our mission tree with the Spanish Netherlands mission, which now gives us subjugation of the Low Countries till the end of the game, giving us plus 10 trade efficiency, reduced trade penalty on non-main trade node, plus 25%, which is actually pretty interesting, pretty different. And the final mission, Universal Monarchy, just need to complete all the missions prior to this, and either be the Emperor of the HRE and proclaim that one of the reforms, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, or dismantle the HRE. In my case, it was just easier to just dismantle the HRE. And in the end, you get Diplo Rep plus 1, all power costs minus 5, Imperial Authority modifier 0.10, and years for personal union integration minus 10. You also get prestige, and any of that gets converted into monarch power. We'll give it a little bit. And as you guys hear, I also just got the achievement Forever Golden. Complete the entire Spanish mission tree. And if you guys are curious in terms of development, yeah, I'm almost at 8,000 development right now. And this is what our colonial empire looks like. We do have a little bit here. Britain did colonize over here for me. So yeah, when I integrated them, I got Papua New Guinea. We can have almost 1,000 soldiers as well in the field. And just, yeah, we've been just absolutely demolishing anybody that stood in our path. Granted, a lot of it was with the aid of personal union partners, but honestly, we probably didn't even need them. And Spain's just an absolutely just broken nation, be it for a beginner or an advanced player. Overall, though, it's a very fun campaign to play as Spain. And again, they received such a huge update with the Golden Century DLC a while back ago that honestly, if you haven't played as them in a while, I would say it's worth it to give them a try now, especially with so many of the different things that they get here. Though I don't really like this border gore going on in Italy, but I mean, I guess it kind of works because of Austria here and the Milan. So but yeah, that's going to conclude it for today's video. Hope you guys really enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like. And if you want to see more mission tree only, please subscribe to my channel. Next time we are going to be covering the nation of Poland. And I will see you guys in the next one. Chairman out.